Take a breath with me for a second. This episode isn't about charts. It is not about price predictions. And it's definitely not about hype. Today I want to talk about something that most crypto conversations avoid. What happens when a project tries to be successful before it tries to be popular? That is the core topic for today. What happens when a project tries to be successful before it tries to be popular? My name is Leinhardt, and this is the Crypto Investor Podcast. Over the last few days, I've been reading, I've been listening, I have been watching what's being said about Troptions.Unity, also known as TUNIT. And instead of the usual noise, I noticed something really different. I noticed something that is really so different. It wasn't about when the coin is going to multiply by 100. It was about the infrastructure. It was about patience and real world applications. And that got me fixed. If you've been in crypto for long enough, especially if you've been banned, you know how rare that is. So today I wanted to talk to you through, to walk you through Troptions.Unity from a human and common layperson perspective. What it claims to be, why that matters, where the risks still are, and how this fits into a much bigger shift happening in crypto right now. So there's no selling, there's no popping, and it's about being honest and having a very difficult, honest conversation. I want to be open with you. I didn't come into projects like this starry-eyed, but I come in cautious. And I think everybody should always be cautious with crypto and before investing in any crypto asset. Because I'm a person who has lived through scams. My family has lived through scams from way back in 2016 from OneCoin, and around 2017, 2018 through Platinum Coin. Promises that sounded beautiful until the reality showed up. So when I hear phrases like utility, impact, movement, my guard naturally goes up. But here's the thing. I think not every project that talks about purpose is lying. Some are simply early, some are slow by design, and some are trying to build something that doesn't explode overnight, but rather survives 10 to 15 to 20 years to 30 years. When I looked at Troptions.Unity, it caught my attention because it doesn't sell speed. It doesn't sell speed. But it says infrastructure. That's my opinion. I think Troptions.Unity sells infrastructure. And believe me, infrastructure is boring until it works. Infrastructure has always been boring until it works. Look at roads. roads aren't exciting unless if you're from deep rural areas. Roads are not exciting until you need to move food. If you're hungry and need more food near you. Electricity itself is not exciting until it's gone. That's when you realize, oh my goodness, this is the engine for everything. So when it's there, you simply think, anyway, it's there. Payments aren't exciting until they fail. I think Troptions.Unity is positioning itself as a system and not a moment. And that's why it could at times feel boring and, a utility network tied to health care, tied to malaria programs, tied to merchants and real economic participation. I think that alone makes it worth discussing carefully. So I think what changed in the last couple of days wasn't hype, but it was clarity. Recent writing around Troptions.Unity leaned into a very uncomfortable truth in crypto tokens that exist only to trade, eventually die. I think that was so honest. The articles that I always write about Troptions.Unity are not promising explosive growth, but they always talk about gradual rollout, proof of activity, merchant adoption, and liquidity that comes after use, not before. That's what I always focus on when I'm writing my articles about Troptions.Unity asset. And I think that is a dangerous stance to take in crypto, because it doesn't excite speculators, but it does attract real builders. There was also a renewed focus on Troptions.Unity being built on Solana, and that matters more than people realize. That's what I think. I think Solana isn't just fast, but it is also usable for micro transactions and frequent payments and real world commerce, which is really amazing. So if you're serious about everyday use, high fees kill your vision immediately. And I think that's why Solana has been chosen, because the tone was consistent. So if you also want to venture into Troptions.Unity or in any other crypto currency or any other asset in the Troptions ecosystem, I think you shouldn't buy blindly, but you should carefully watch and learn and educate yourself. You should test the fundamentals. You should follow activity and not premises, because that's not the language of a pump. That's the language of something trying to last forever. Okay, let's simply simplify this. Troptions.Unity isn't trying to be the next meme coin. It isn't trying to replace Bitcoin. It isn't trying to be everything. But I think it is positioning itself as a utility token that is inside a broader ecosystem. That ecosystem includes merchant services, it includes healthcare initiatives, it includes malaria eradication programs, real economic participation for everyday people. The token TUNIT is meant to move value inside this entire system and not just sit on the exchange. I want you to think of it like this, that Bitcoin is the digital gold, Ethereum is a programmable infrastructure, Solana is high-speed execution, and then Troptions.Unity is becoming functional money inside specific communities and specific causes. That's a very different goal, and it comes with very difficult challenges if you were to look at it deeper. Because if you ground this in reality, you can then imagine a local clinic in Nigeria. I want to imagine a local clinic in Nigeria, not a fancy hospital, but a real clinic serving everyday people. They participate in a Troptions-backed health care initiative. Patients don't speculate on TUNIT, but they use it for consultation fee, for treatment subsidy, for a verified service, everything localized and digitalized. So the clinic converts what it needs into local currency and keeps the rest inside the ecosystem. So there's nothing like hype, there's no trading desks, but just function. Okay, imagine a small merchant, maybe a food seller, a service provider, a transport operator. They accept TUNIT because of low fees. They accept TUNIT because settlement is fast. They accept TUNIT because customers already hold the token. And this shouldn't be theory. That's how money should spread. And then I want you to imagine a malaria eradication program that instead of donations disappearing into paperwork, but the distribution is tracked, the participation is rewarded, and transparency becomes highly possible. This is where crypto actually shines. Not speculation, but accountability. Not speculation, but accountability. That's the vision that Troptions.Unity keeps pointing toward. The key word here is vision, because vision must still be executed. Let me slow down to this because this is important. Purpose does not remove risk. Purpose does not remove risk. Troptions.Unity still need to prove that there is real merchant usage, that there is transparent tokenomics, that there is clear liquidity planning, and there is a long-term governance. For that, they must still prove it. And investors shouldn't believe blindly, because every smart investor should be asking right now, who is holding what? What unlocks when? And what happens if adoption is slower than expected? Because the project itself has repeatedly said, watch the launch and do not rush. So I respect that. So if any community pressures happens, if any community pressures you to buy now, and buy the coin right away, I think you should be careful, because serious infrastructure doesn't fear scrutiny. That's my personal belief. I feel like I should talk about Solana right now. Solana is not perfect. It excels what Troptions.Unity needs right now. Because apparently Troptions.Unity needs speed, it needs low transaction costs, it needs high throughput. It needs active developer ecosystem. So if your vision includes microtransactions, daily payments, high frequency use, you cannot build that on slow, expensive rails. You cannot. You definitely need Solana. So Troptions.Unity choosing Solana isn't just hype, but it is practicable. It does put it into practice. Zoom out with me. Crypto is slowly splitting into two worlds. World 1 includes fast launches, it includes fast pumps, it includes faster collapses. And then world 2, it includes slow adoption, it includes real services, and it includes quiet growth. World 1 is louder, world 2 is rarer. Troptions.Unity is clearly trying to belong to World 2. The history tells us something important. The projects that survive are usually boring at the beginning. Ethereum itself was boring. Bitcoin itself was mocked. Even Solana was ignored on early stages. And all this summarizes it that utility doesn't trend until it's unavoidable. Okay? So if you're listening and wondering what to do, here is my quick advice. Do not rush. Don't idolize. Don't gamble what you can't lose. But I think you should observe the activity. Ask for proof. Follow the usage. Watch how the team responds to hard questions. Watch the history. Understand the history of this entire philosophy. If Troptions.Unity delivers on even part of its vision, it earns respect. If it doesn't, you simply walk away smarter. That's how grown investors operate. I want to end this personally. I don't talk about Troptions.Unity because I expect to make people rich overnight, but I talk about it because crypto needs fewer lies and more responsibility. We've seen enough damage, enough broken trust, enough families hurt. If your project genuinely tries to combine technology with real human outcomes, healthcare, disease prevention, economic access, it deserves careful attention, not blind faith, but careful attention. So here's where we land. Troptions.Unity is not promising of riches, but it is a test of patience. It is a test of execution. It is a test of whether crypto can finally act like infrastructure instead of a casino. So watch it closely, ask the hard questions, stay human. This has been Daniel Leinhardt on the Crypto Investor Podcast. If this episode helped you think, not just feel, please do share it. And as always, utility outlives hype. I'll talk to you soon.